Good morning, boys and girls of the internet. Today is Thursday, July 12th, 2018, vlog number 192. It's my Friday, even though it's Thursday. But it's my last day of work for my weekend. And, so I do have a photo shoot this afternoon. It should be fun. Probably shouldn't be too difficult of a photo shoot. But could be fun. Hopefully it won't be too, like super hot today, because we're going to meet up around like 5:30ish. But it's looking a little cloudy right now, so it might be good to keep it cooler in the afternoon. Hopefully the clouds last. It'd be really nice to have a nice cloudy day in the afternoon. Give some good overcast skies, so that's really good for nice even lighting. Don't get these harsh shadows on people when you're shooting outdoors. Something just occurred to me. And I kind of knew about it for a while, but it's especially apparent in my newer car. That when people are reliant on certain vehicle technologies, when they get into other cars, it kind of makes them a worse driver. I'm including myself in this. Because for the last 2 years, I've driven a car that has features such as a backup camera. When I hit reverse, I can see how far I have to go until I hit something. I also had reverse sensors, where if there is something behind you, it gives you an audible beep. Especially if say if you're going to back out of a parking spot and you don't see, if you have a hard time seeing left or right of you, if like a car's going to come, across, it will give you a warning. It'll give you an audible warning. That's a car coming. It also has blind spot monitoring. Gives you a little arrow in the side view mirrors. And if you try to put on your signal to go across a lane or something, and if there's a car there, it'll give you a warning sound. Of course, I had the front collision detector, which broke on me. I spoke on that at length. But it had all these features that are pretty good for safety reasons. This car, this version, this trim level does not have those. Which, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, God, I kind of made a mistake in buying this car, because yeah, it's a newer car, and yeah, it's essentially the same car, and it's kind of a little more valuable because of the age, but it's a lesser car. It's a lesser trim level than mine. Now, going back to what I said about the type of things making a worse driver, like the backup camera that I had in my other car made it so easy to parallel park a large sedan such as a Dodge Charger. So much easier, because not only could you have this nice wide angle view behind you, but how far back you can go till you hit something, A, and B, it's wide enough where you can see where the curb is at, and it has these little graphic lines that tell you kind of where your car's aligned at, so you can go right up against that curb and you'll be fine. Now, if you don't have that, and that's the first car I had a backup camera. Before then, I could parallel park my other cars. I just had to, kind of gauge the distance of my car. When you have a big car like this, it is kind of hard to gauge the size of your car, especially from where you're sitting to the rear of it, until you kind of get the practice of doing it. But I could just imagine, that's just a simple thing. So right now, without a backup camera, I just have a slightly more difficult time parallel parking, or even if I try to like back into a parking spot, that it'll be slightly more difficult for me now, even though I could do it in the past before I had a car with a backup camera. I just have to relearn that skill again. You know what I mean? I'm not a bad driver by any means. I'm just saying that that's a skill I kind of lost because I was reliant on the backup camera. Same thing with blind spot monitoring. Now I have to be more cognizant, be more observant of the vehicles around me if I'm trying to change lanes. Things like that. And I had thought about things like this a while ago, about the more active like safety features and automated features they put in cars. I think the worse we're going to be in terms of driver ability. In the future, it's kind of inevitable about automated cars. Semi self-driving cars. I believe I talked about this in the past in a past vlog. When we get to a point where a certain percentage of cars on the road can be self-driving, and if you're a driver in that car, and if like 90% of the time you don't touch your car, you're pretty much just along for the ride, you're gonna lose a skill. When it comes time to actually take over that car, if you have to, or if you get into a car that doesn't have those features and you have to drive it for real, you're gonna have to, it's gonna take a while to get used to that, relearn how to drive. I know it's like riding a bike, but if you're in a car for a couple of years that for the most part you barely have to touch the car, you're not going to have as fast reaction times. You're not going to know certain things like, oh, am I in my lane correctly, or like it's going to take you a while to kind of get back up to speed, and that's that might make people more dangerous drivers when they do drive non-automated cars. So we're gonna see it happen. We're gonna see, because at this point, we have these like semi-auto automated cars that the autonomous driving in it is very limited, where they still want you to be in the driver's seat, your hands kind of like by the steering wheel, or even some cars they say, you have to at least like touch the steering wheel every so often to so the car knows you're there, and observant. You can't like take a nap. I think some of these cars even like look at your face to see if you're napping while the car's driving. So for that, we're still going to have some kind of observe. But say if you, for the most part, you're driving along on a freeway, and you haven't touched your car in like 30 minutes because you're going on a trip, but something happens, bam, you have to be right on the button, and your car itself, yeah, it might be able to stop itself, but maybe something is going to happen where the car doesn't know exactly what to do about it, and you have to kind of do a certain maneuver. Yeah, cars can stop themselves now if they have to, like emergency braking. But what if emergency braking is not enough? What if you have to like do evasive driving, like go around like a dead cow in the road or something? The car doesn't see it. That's, I don't know. Whoa. So, that's my thoughts on that, and I'll let you know how much better I get used to driving without the features that I had been used to for 2 years. Again, like I said, I'm a good driver. I didn't need those features in the past before I had my last Charger, and I drove fine. So it's not like I can't drive without them. Just like I said, it's something you get used to, and you become a little bit more overly reliant on it, which is kind of a bad thing, to be overly reliant on your vehicle to warn you about things. Hell, there were times in my last Charger where my side, mirror sensor would beep at me, and I'm like, "There's nothing fucking there." I'm like, what? Because it got off reading, or like it read a sign or something like that. So don't trust technology 100% when it comes to, especially when you're in a 2-ton vehicle. Not exactly 2 tons, but whatever, however much your car or truck weighs. Don't trust it 100% yet. It's gonna be a long time before we get autonomous driving features that are reliable and trustworthy enough, where people don't really they don't have to know how to drive. It's gonna be a sad day, because there's still all kinds of awesome classic cars and stuff that you should be able to know how to drive. Well, I say that because in an ironic way, because I don't know how to drive standard shift. I know the principle, I've just never done it before. So I'm pretty sure I could do it. So that's one thing that, in the future people will like, that car doesn't have automatic braking? Man, I don't know if I could be able to do that. You know how to brake. Maybe people won't know how to brake. I don't know. What, that car, like, it doesn't keep itself in the lane while you drive down the road? How do you do that? You steer. Simple things like that. It's funny to think about, but in the future, there's going to be people that are like that. They're like, oh, how long have you been driving a car? Oh, about 10 years. But you're asking me, how do you keep a car in its lanes? And on top of that, you got these autonomous features and stuff on cars. What if you have a car that, say in like 20, 30 years from now, where it's fully autonomous, where it doesn't even have a damn steering wheel in it? Now, it might be good for certain areas of the country, but out here, we have some rural ass fucking areas where there's literally like dirt roads leading to people's houses. Is a fully autonomous car going to be able to deal with that? I don't know. And especially like, what if, this dirt road here, I might be able to know that it's a dirt road on a GPS map or stuff like that, but hey, last night it rained, and on this road, there's like, off to the right side, a little bit of the dirt washed off and, left a little crevasse there. Is your car going to be able to know that and see it and then react to it? What about weather? I'm sure for most of these cars, they test them in all kinds of different weather types. But there's one thing about, I know about cars, or one thing I know about autonomous technology, is that they rely a lot on a multitude of outward sensors, such as, radar, LiDAR, camera technology. If it's a blizzard out there, I don't really see, your LiDAR, your little laser sensor that, shoots out and maps the world around you. How good is that going to be in a blizzard? Maybe it's good, I don't know. But maybe it's confused as fuck, because all it sees is a shit ton of specks, that the laser's hitting and bouncing off of and going all kinds of different directions. So, it's just interesting times ahead. We'll see what happens. And there's a bunny in the road. Get out of the road, bunny. That's my thoughts on that. We're in the age of autonomy, making people less skilled. That's kind of the inevitable future for all of us, I suppose. Whatever. Give me your thoughts on what you think about, the lack of human skills that we're gonna have. Something like that. I don't know. But I'll talk to y'all later. That's all for today. Have a good day. And I love you.